So it's Pivot. It is season 3. We are back. And guess what? This is the season of expansion. That's right. Women in Barbados in business who have really expanded their portfolio and truly occupied their space in their chosen endeavor. Today's special guest is a third-generation business person, but she is the first female face of the brand we have commonly known as Abed's. Nikita Abed, welcome to the Pivot series.
Thank you.
Wow, third generation?
Third generation.
That is incredible stuff. And your 60th anniversary this year. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Wow.
Such a milestone. Cannot believe we made it here, but so excited to be here.
I don't know a single Barbadian who does not know the word Abed's. You know what you're looking for. You go in there. You might even find what you weren't looking for when you go into Abed's, but it has a number of iterations, a number of versions of Abed's throughout the years. Why don't you give us a little background on the family history of Abed's in Barbados?
So Abed's was started in 1964 by my grandparents, Shaukat and Millie Abed. My grandmother dealt with the books and my grandfather was the front of house. You know, he greeted everyone at the door. He helped them find what they were looking for. And they really sort of nurtured the business together. They were an incredible team. And over time, they grew the business. They went into different areas, definitely always with fabrics. They had a desire to offer better goods than what was available in Barbados. And with fabric for sure, that one of their great stories is that he went to the States and he bought goods. And when they arrived, he was shocked at how small the amount of goods were because he had bought higher end goods and was expecting to see so much more. But they sold and he could see that there was a market for it. And so he kind of used that as his momentum to continue to buy goods that were better than what was available on the island. And as you know, Abed's back in the day sold many different things. We've now sort of moved on to much more sort of homeware, soft furnishings, still incredible fabrics, home textiles, and fashion fabrics, of course. It was sort of moved on from my grandparents and my dad was at the helm. He still is. And then I joined the business 5 years ago, initially to help with the buying.
Let's get into the nitty-gritty because I don't think it is possible to have a family-owned business, right? And you've got this incredible visionary in your grandparents. What was it like growing up in the business and the family of Abed's?
Loud, passionate, always lots of debate and opinions, but always tempered with love and a sense of family. I, from a very young age, was very aware that my family did not work 9 to 5. They were working a lot more than the average person.
Truthfully, you would have seen it happening. But did you see yourself happening with it in the future?
No. So I was in the UK for 15 years over the course of my sort of adult life. I always worked in marketing. That was what my degree was in. And I was working in a marketing and content company for a number of retail brands. And they were quite diverse, really interesting. And from each brand, I learned something that then, to be honest, I was able to apply to my own business here. And that was great, being able to bring value back and put that into the business here. The brands that I was working for, as I said, were retail brands. I worked for 5 years here at a luxury retail business, and then 10 years in agencies in the UK. And I thought I was going to stay there. I was happy. But, you know, being Bajan, I always had that desire to come back home, especially during winters. I was like, what am I
What are we doing here? We're in the wrong place.
What am I doing here? I would come home for Christmas and then go back to the UK in January and just be miserable. And one February, 6 years ago, my dad asked me to come back, and the rest is history.
So let's talk about a cultural shift, right? 60
Yeah.
years ago, it would have been very typical. Every Saturday morning, hitch your wagon to mine. We're heading to the fabric store. You know, we just finished Easter, for instance. We're getting our clothes made, for one. You know, we're going to probably get some drapery made. We're going to cover some cushions. We're going to get those made. How did Abed's manage to roll with the changing times?
Well, I think we've always naturally had incredible suppliers for fabrics, whether that be fashion fabrics or home furnishing fabrics. And as times have moved on, and as you said, there is so much more of a demand for ready goods, our suppliers have all been offering these things. So we were naturally able to sort of tiptoe into that area and see what worked for us. See beautiful patterns come to life, put things together. You know, if anyone's ever talked to you about interior design, we all know it's not about putting the same pattern on everything, but instead putting different patterns together, textures, colors, things that feed off of each other and create a mood and an ambiance. And we kind of tiptoed into that area and had some success in it, and so continued doing that.
So when we look into Abed's in 2024, I don't see tiptoeing. I see full throttle. Listen, we can transform your spaces and we've got the things to do it.
Yeah.
But 5 years ago, what did you think was going to happen?
Dad is still very much at the helm of Abed's, and he has great vision. And I think he gave me some leeway to try different things, but I wasn't sure how much he was going to give me. And slowly but surely, I sort of was able to do bits and pieces that worked and we had good responses on. And so I was given more leeway to do and try different things. I think I've always had a good eye when it comes to buying, whether it be fabrics or furnishings. I am a girly girl that I always was attracted by colors and textures, have always been. And yeah, I think I was given the opportunity to try out different things, and thankfully it worked. Don't get me wrong, there have been a lot of times where I bought things that I thought the world would love, and I got here and it went flat. Like
Not
everyone,
the world.
it was arrived, and all of my team were like, "What is this?
What
is this? Yeah. What do we do with this?" I'm like, "Oh, can't you see? No, cannot see."
But it's okay, because more often we're going to have a hit like this. Right? Things taste better in pretty cups, I can assure you of that. Home furnishings has really exploded around the world. And it's just great to see that somebody who shares that vision is at the helm of a company that we've come to know and trust and rely on for the things that we love.
Yeah. I mean, I think coming back to Barbados, sort of early on, I don't say early on in my career, but young in my career, I didn't have disposable income to buy all of the beautiful things that I wanted to for my first apartment back when I moved back home. And I was just shocked at the prices. And
shocked is right.
Yeah, the prices, and perhaps shocked at the selection. So I felt like you could either get beautiful things at a really expensive price, or you had to go like almost bargain hunting. And I don't like doing that. I don't like doing that. There's got to be a happy middle ground. Yeah. Exactly. So that was my ambition, to try to find beautiful things at an affordable price. There's no reason why you can't have beautiful things that are affordable. And I felt like I knew that that was possible because we were working with suppliers and factories directly with them. If you're buying through a middleman, you really don't have much control over your price.
Right.
The price is the price is the price. And also what they're selling is what they have. But if you're working with a manufacturer or a factory, you can say, yeah, I like this cup, but I'd like it in pink and red, not orange and yellow. And we did that across the board. All of our rugs, all of our curtains, nothing that we buy is as they sell it. Everything is colored to our needs with a very Bajan lens.
I feel like people are going to start buying with a whole new vision this time. Like, she created this for me. And that's what I love.
Thanks. Yeah, I mean, definitely. We're very, very selective on our colors. I cannot tell you how many DHL and FedEx packages go back and forward with color samples to make sure that we've got the colors right. And obviously how much I travel. I have to travel a lot to shows and to the factories and to our suppliers to make sure that we are getting the quality that we want and the colors and the finish that we want, because it's easy to just, buy something online with the advent of Amazon and Alibaba, but actually to have something crafted, created, designed locally and then brought in for our market is incredible. I think that's also super fulfilling. We started doing it 2 years ago. I launched our first collection of Barbadian prints on fabrics. And every year I've done a few more. And that's something that truly warms my heart. It's like a year in the making, back and forward, creating a print, coloring everything, getting the prints, making sure that they come back correctly.
Right.
But this helps us really create a Bajan product, because otherwise we're kind of pigeonholed into North American things which are very dark, or European which are very pastel. And from the Caribbean, we're not either of
We're
those
vibrant.
things. We want color.
Yes.
We want texture. We want happiness and vibrance. So yeah, I have a big focus on that. And also telling the Bajan story. I'm proud of where I come from. And I think that we should be showcasing our culture and our heritage and what Barbados means to us, not just what people think Barbados means.
I like that. We're going to talk more about this expansion.
Yes.
The next part we're about to delve into is the one space people do not like to talk about, and for good reason. But where business is concerned, especially in Barbados, it is literally one of those learning tools. How did you navigate COVID? I had to whisper it. It was an awful time. Let's just put it on the table.
It was.
Awful.
I mean, it was horrible. I think personally it was hard. And for a business, it was super hard too. Everyone felt it. But I think, my grandparents grew this business from nothing. So one of the things that they did incredibly well was built a business on a shoestring. They always put their employees first, and they put things in place so that, if and when hard times came, we could cut expenses. My dad was very good at doing this as well. Cut expenses and try to keep payroll as the last expense that we cut. We are a 6-year-old business, and we have employees that have been with us for 40 odd years. So I thought they're family, So that was the last thing we wanted to touch. And so that's what we did. We trimmed as much as we could. We got creative, and we treaded water for as long as possible. I think that was when we realized it was time to have an online presence. My brother and I were taking orders through email and trying to, do everything that we possibly could. I mean, remember when COVID hit, we didn't have enough masks on the island. And so everyone was making fabric masks. So we had a small, I don't want to say a side hustle, but basically of just selling fabrics and haberdashery to create masks. And
We went back to basics.
we went back to basics. The whole company was basically run through my brother and I taking these orders, and then we would have some of our staff members come in. Everyone had to be, 6 feet apart. All the protocols observed. It was a hard time.
It was hard, hands down.
Yeah.
But what are some of the positives and one of the things that you took with you that said, you know what? Had it not been for this particular challenge,
Yeah.
we never would have thought of X.
So definitely we wouldn't have pushed ourselves to get into the website, to
Right.
create a website, to see that need for it. And also, you know what? Our staff had been home for so long. They loved coming out and doing some
I'll
work.
do it.
Like,
I'll do it.
please, it's my turn. So that was so nice, being able to see people. I mean, remember, there were like weeks and weeks where you didn't see anyone other than your household. So yeah, I think it definitely made us feel more protective of our team. It definitely made us realize that it was time for us to get a website and start pursuing that. You know, websites don't occur overnight.
They do not.
So we've had a number of iterations. We're on to iteration number 3 right now.
Good for you.
So yeah, lots of lessons learned.
Right.
And I think in the long run, as I said, we treaded water for as long as we could. We kept doing things, hoping that good times would come. And by the grace of God, they did.
Yeah.
You know, we made it
Look at
through.
so many spaces we now see Abed's expanding in. And a lot of it, you have to admit, we're at your hands. Like, maybe we should do more of this. Maybe we should do more of that. Even the way you advertise digitally, you know, somebody taking over the Instagram or whatever, or walk with me and go through. Those things never would have happened before. In your mind's eye, it wouldn't have been top of mind.
Absolutely. I mean, I think one of the things that I did when I joined the business was for a couple of years, we remained with the advertising agency that we were with for a long time. And then I brought that all in-house. So we now do all of our marketing and advertising in-house. And that's a big task, you know, for a very small team, but one that I really loved and one that my experience has definitely helped serve. So yeah, I think that in itself is huge. It's a big undertaking. It's something that I really enjoy doing and passionate about. So moving the Abed's brand from an older household brand into something that felt more modern, bright, vibrant.
Lifestyle.
Definitely lifestyle. And the other thing is that, as you said earlier, people are buying more and more ready-made goods. And I didn't want us to be seen as an old brand that just got left behind. I wanted to kind of take people on a new journey of how they too could create unique spaces and unique clothing. I mean, fashion is very much within our Caribbean blood.
Yeah.
But I think creating something unique is very much Bajan. And we have incredible designers, seamstress, tailors on this island that I think far too often people just don't realize. I mean, people aren't one size fits all.
We are not.
Smaller waist, bigger bum, bigger boobs, smaller boobs, shorter, chubbier, whatever.
We all got named in that.
Exactly. Why not create something that is bespoke to you, that makes you feel like $1,000,000? And I love seeing that. I love seeing that come together. And I just think there's so much talent on this island to create that.
Yeah. And they know where to go.
Absolutely.
They know where to
So
go.
I'm more than happy for us to be the place to get all of those beautiful fabrics. I think I always keep our customers in mind. What kind of things are they looking to create? What time of the year is it? What will they need? Is it graduation or weddings time? Is it crop over? Is it Christmas? Like,
You're
what's
every
coming up?
season. There's no season that you don't touch or have a direct impact on, which is an incredible thing.
Thank you.
The Estates at St. George is the first of its kind in the Caribbean, a visionary concept of an active lifestyle residential community catering to people at every stage of their adult lives. The Estates at St. George represents a unique opportunity to live an independent and active lifestyle in an elegant apartment home surrounded by a wealth of amenities in a secure environment.
You're in the season now
Yeah.
of expanding family,
Yes.
right?
I am.
Now you're a mom.
Yes.
How do we sit down with our notebook of progress and say, this is how we're going to do it, only to be met with the reality that we're going to have to build this as we go? How do you approach business as a mother?
A lot of coffee.
Lovely. Good. Get your
A lot of coffee. A lot of coffee and a lot of planning.
Yeah.
I spend the weekends planning my life. I plan my week, plan what I'm eating, what I'm doing, how my daughter is going to be taken care of, everything. And also I have an incredible team. I mean, it's small, but very good at what they do, super helpful. Some of my team members have been with me for the entire time that I've been with Abed's, so they know me inside out, especially being a mom. They recognize that there's other pressures and they hold me accountable. Nikita, you need to respond to this, you need to do this, you need to do that, you know.
Love that team.
Absolutely. You need that. You don't need yes people around you all the time. You need people that really keep you in check. And again, being part of a family business, it's not like your boss having a nice little chat. This is my dad as my boss. He'll call me and say, you have not done blah, 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 blah.
Wow,
You know?
just the best. Just the thought of it. Like,
Yeah.
okay, thanks, guys.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, I think I'm always kept in check. Having a great team definitely helps.
Yeah. You spoke about your grandparents earlier, which would have led into, your father and your own parents later on. How do you want to approach business? And what graces will you give yourself as a mother?
I don't know. I feel I'm a perfectionist, unfortunately. I think the graces that I'm giving myself is I'm learning to let go. That
That's
not
a big one.
Yeah,
It's huge.
Not everything can be perfect. Sometimes you have to put out things that are not ideal, but you just need to do them. So I'm allowing myself to not be a perfectionist all the time.
That's a big grace.
Yeah.
And it kind of filters into so many other things.
Yeah.
No, I didn't get to all the emails by 10 p.m. tonight. One's going to
Absolutely.
wait till tomorrow.
Yeah.
Those sorts of things. Oh, I didn't refill the coffee pot. It can be done tomorrow.
Yeah.
Those are big graces. Think about how you would want to see your own daughter view you as a businesswoman. What would you want her to see?
I would love her to see me as hardworking, but also that business wasn't everything. I want her to feel loved and taken care of, and that she is my number one priority. I, of course, want my business to do well. I mean, ultimately, it has my name on
Right on it.
So there's no getting away from that. And just as I want to see my family grow and prosper, I want that from my business. I want that as a third generation business owner, I want to see that I have taken Abed's from one place and that in the end I've grown it bigger and better. There's this horrible saying, clogs to clogs in 3 generations. And I have known that saying for as long as I can remember. And it is one that definitely keeps me on my toes, keeps me driven. That is never going to be me.
For
Failure.
our viewers, just explain what that means.
So they say that the first generation makes the money.
That's right.
The second generation grows the money. And the third generation spends it all. And it's gone.
Wow. And we don't get to number 4 somehow.
Yeah. So that drives me. That's never going to be my situation. I'm never going to allow that to happen. Not on my watch.
So there is the hint of a desire for a 4th generation Abeds. Is this something that you think you would want to encourage your daughter or future children to consider, or you just kind of let them choose?
You know, I was never pushed into Abeds. I
Right.
never thought that this was going to be where I ended up. Ever, ever, ever. And I never felt pressure to join the business. It just kind of happened at the right time. And as I said, my experience really led me perfectly to fit this role where I do the buying and all the marketing and merchandising. Honestly, it's like a happy collision of all of my experience for this role. And I love what I do, but I would never want to make my children or nieces or nephews feel like they needed to. They were pressured to join the business. If it works out that way, I would love it. My grandparents would definitely be smiling. But, if it doesn't, then we'll pivot. We'll find another way. I think that's one of our other things that we're really good at is being quite agile and going with the times and innovative. We'll find other ways to make the business work.
Sounds like a plan, because I know you like a plan.
Yeah, I like a plan.
With Flow Business's new smart solutions, powered by super fast, reliable broadband, you'll feel like there are more versions of you working for you. From website design, development, and digital marketing to promote your business, 24/7 business class support to cloud solutions, security, and more. Multiply your growth today.
So 60 years, definitely nothing to sneeze at. And I have this feeling that expansion is still on the horizon for Abed. So what's next?
So this is our 60th anniversary year. We are opening a third store.
Third
Third
store.
store is coming. Very excited at the end of this year. And then I think we will expand online. Definitely have a website that offers everything that we currently retail, wholesale throughout the islands, I think. And then grow into more symbiotic areas. So this year we're moving into furniture, more furniture pieces that we've created, that I've really had a hand in creating. So everything from choosing the wood to the fabric.
Oh.
As I said, I love color and texture.
So these are also bespoke.
Yes.
Yes.
So yeah, I think we're moving into more furniture that is reflective of our culture and our lifestyles. Beautiful textures, beautiful colors, but ultimately easy to use, easy to maintain, fabrics, and if it's something spills on it, you can wipe it.
Right.
Life happens.
It does, though.
Life happens. I think, even being a mum, that has taught me that. Before that, I had beautiful light furniture, and now I realize that unless that fabric is good to go, then you have a problem.
Yeah.
So these kind of things are so important to me. The same way that we have created prints, that we now do our own exclusive prints on fabrics.
Yes.
Definitely see us doing more of that when it comes to furniture.
So I'm super excited about the expansion, not just because we have the next store coming, but that there's so many other offerings. And even if I don't physically get to the store, which is a joke, I'm getting to that store, but the online option, which is great. And then the fact that you're going through the islands. It's one of the things in business that we often talk about in Barbados, that we might saturate from St. Lucie to St. Philip, but we don't go beyond the shores.
Yeah.
And this is Abed's, going beyond the shores.
Yeah, I think we've had a number of customers that buy from us throughout the islands anyhow, some of the smaller islands. And it just seems like natural progression. As you said, Barbados is 280,000 people. The market is capped.
Yeah.
And we need to keep growing. And what better way to do it than utilize online?
Allow our Caribbean brothers and sisters to get the nice things that we've enjoyed for our entire 60 years.
Absolutely.
Right? Which leads me to, sadly, my final question, because I feel like we could do this all day long.
Okay.
But let's talk about the legacy. When I look back, I'm thinking I would be very hard-pressed, as would we all, to find a single person who has either never visited an Abed store or has something in their home from Abed's. Like you are literally weaving and threading right through the Barbadian diaspora.
Yep.
You have touched every life in every way that I could possibly think of.
Thank you.
How do you all see yourselves in terms of the legacy that you want to leave on Barbados?
So I definitely want to grow the business to bigger and better than I found it. I want to be a good steward of what has been passed on to me. And I think the way to do that is to continue to grow in these areas that we've had success in. I mean, we're a business driven by our customers. So when they say they like something and they want more of it, you better believe I'm going to go looking, sourcing to see how we can do that, but do that in a way that reflects Bajan lifestyles, and our diverse customer base here. Different price points, different look and feels. We want to be able to continue to be modern, to continue to grow with the times and go with the times, so that we continue to be part of everyone's household, from a young child where you go and get your uniforms to when you graduate, getting the fabric to make your dress. And then when you get married, when you get your first apartment, the place that you come to for beautiful and affordable home decor and bits and pieces to create your first house. As time goes on and you want to reupholster furniture, we want to be there with you in that journey. When you're creating work uniforms or clothing that you want to wear to a crop over fete or to a wedding or to whatever, something that's made just for you. We want to continue being part of people's lives, I think, more than anything. I think that, to me, would be success if we continue to do that and do that well.
And what a legacy that will be. Nikita, this conversation has not only been extremely riveting, I have learned more about Abeds today than I ever thought I would. You think you know someone until you start to know someone. And I think the Abed story is really one for the books.